We're at the Snohomish County Courthouse in Everett, where Richard Rotter, the man accused of killing Everett police officer Dan Rocha on March 25th by shooting him and then running him over with his car, is due to appear. We were told that he was going to plead guilty to all the charges against him, but something between then and now has changed. You'll see the hearing here in just a moment, and then following that, you'll hear from some relatives of Richard Rotter.
Right. If you're on Zoom, please mute yourself. Thank you.
County Superior Court is now in session. The Honorable Karen D. Moore presiding.
Good morning, please be seated.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Matheson.
If we can next go on the record in the matter of State v. Richard James Rotter, that's cause number 221-0044131. That comes on this morning for a scheduled arraignment. My name is Craig Matheson. I represent the state. Co-counsel Bob Langben is also present for the state. Ms. Tarantino and Mr. Snyder from the Public Defender's Office are here for Mr. Rotter. Mr. Rotter is present. He is in custody. He is not shackled. Judge, we had set this over just under a week from last Tuesday for Mr. Rotter to apparently at least consider a plea of guilty. It's my understanding that Mr. Rotter has changed his mind and will just need to proceed to arraignment.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tarantino.
Good morning, Your Honor. Natalie Tarantino with Mr. Rotter. We would acknowledge receipt of the 3-count information. In this case, waive formal reading. Mr. Rotter is prepared to enter pleas of not guilty to all 3 counts this morning.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Rotter. Is your true name Richard James Rotter?
Yes, Richard James Rotter.
Right. I've been provided a 3-count information charging you with 1 count of aggravated murder in the 1st degree with a firearm allegation, count 2 unlawful possession of a firearm in the 2nd degree, and count 3 possession of a controlled substance with intent to manufacture or deliver, also with a firearm allegation. All of these crimes are alleged to have been committed on or about the 25th day of March 2022. To those 3 counts, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
All right, not guilty, please will enter.
Can I make a court of record? I need to ask for an incompetency hearing, mental health, and medical eval.
So, Mr. Rotter, if those motions need to be made by your counsel, they can be made on your behalf.
I can't make that court of record right now.
You've just made a court record.
Thank you.
Mr. Matheson.
Judge, with the expectation that Mr. Rotter is going to be held in custody, the 60th day would be June 24th. I'd ask the court to set at least initially a trial date prior to that date, just to put the court and counsel on notice. I'm going to be out of the country the entirety of June, so it's not going to be a realistic date. It's my understanding that the defense is not going to be objecting to that.
Your Honor, I would ask the court to set the trial for now within speedy trial. I think given the complexity of the case, it's unlikely the defense would be prepared to go within a 60-day setting, but we can address that at a later date.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Matheson, are you requesting, say, a trial date of May 27th, 2022? If you're going to be gone the entirety of June?
Yeah, we can go ahead and set that. We'll bring a motion to continue prior to that. So whatever works for Ms. Tarantino.
That's fine.
All right, we'll set trial then for May 27th, 2022. We'll set an omnibus hearing, which also I would expect would be continued we'll set it for May 4th, 2022 at 9 a.m. And bail will be maintained.
We've signed off on those orders, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. So I sign these orders. We'll set trial for May 27th, 2022, 9:30 a.m. Omnibus is scheduled for May 4th, 2022, 9 a.m. The last allowable date for trial will be June 24th, 2022. I've signed those orders. Thank you. Court's at recess.
All right.
Yeah, can you guys say who you're related to, please?
Richard Rotter.
Yes, we're family members of Richard Rotter, and we are very concerned about his well-being right now. He has some serious health issues that need to be dealt with, and from what we can gather, he is under duress and thought about pleading guilty just to get out of the jail because he feels he's being tortured. As family members, we didn't even receive his first phone call until 3 weeks after this happened. I've never had that happen before. He said he wasn't given a pencil, which was a rubber pencil, until just a week ago, and then they came in and took it back away, everything away from him. For the first couple of weeks, he said he wasn't given a blanket. He was freezing cold. He said now where they had moved in, there was poop and feces all over the wall. We watched him so desperate in what was happening to him in this jail that he thought he was going to be killed or hurt. So he thought if he pled guilty, he could just go to prison and fight from there, because he couldn't get through to anybody. He couldn't write anybody, has no envelopes, has nothing he can really write with, no phone numbers, no addresses. He has had access to nothing.
So what made him change his mind to plead not guilty today?
An attorney told him that I hadn't known you for years, Richard. This is not you. I don't believe that this is on the up and up. Nobody pleads guilty like this. And he explained to him, you know, what they're doing in here. And he says, man up and handle this and tell him you don't remember. You need to get an evaluation, mental and physical health. Get your medications back going. And he says, well, I can't do that, you know, I'm not getting medical help here. And then they put him on suicide watch, where they just come look at him every half hour or whatever it is. And he's just not getting what he needs for his, what do you call it? Civil rights, basically.
Yeah, they're violating his due process.
Can you explain why you believe that's the case?
Just because he's not getting his medical, his mental health treatment or anything, and they haven't evaluated him. They're treating him bad. They're torturing him in there. And he felt like he had to plead guilty just to stop it.
What was your reaction to today's hearing and his not guilty plea?
I was happy with that.
I was happy too, because that was what he planned on doing. But now we're very worried about his safety and welfare.
Do you believe he's not guilty? What do you think he was doing in the area that day that Officer Rocha was killed?
He was supposed to be here buying a car, but
We don't
with
know.
any of this other stuff is just beyond me. I mean, I can't even
We don't know
believe it.
what's going on. We don't. It's very strange.
You had said earlier you believed he was putting brake pads in the trunk, and you don't know where the conversation about the guns came from. Can you talk about that?
I don't know if that's made up or what, but he told me they were brake pads that he was transferring over from one car to another. But his attorney also advised us not to talk at all, so we haven't been able to really talk. Yeah.
And he wasn't able to really talk.
And then we were
he
supposed
did
to have a
today.
family meeting. We never had it with the attorney, so we don't know what's going on.
So we can let him know about the physical issues and the mental health issues that need to be taken care of regularly. He can't just be in there without what he needs to survive.
And can you talk? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
His health is at major risk right now with 4th degree cirrhosis of the liver, or 4th stage. And then he's had many injuries, but within the last 2 years, his seizures and blackouts have increased just terribly. And we have probably 6 witnesses that have witnessed these seizures, or when he's in a car, if it's not in park, his body goes rigid, and the gas pedal is the first thing, and he's running telephone poles and different things. Almost ran over my daughter. But that's not purposeful, you know. These are things that have to do with health problems. He's not a mean person. He is not a violent person.
What do you have to say about his lengthy criminal history?
That was mostly when he would relapse on drugs, and I feel that this is before we knew about some of his mental health and physical illnesses, problems.
And none of them are violent or anything like that.
And you know, basically, most of the people say that self-medication, his counselors, the doctors, when people don't feel right, they self-medicate, and that's when he's run into issues. But this running from police and things like that, you know, that's why I'm wondering, was the officer wearing a uniform, or did Richard think it was really somebody who was trying to kill him or rob him? There's so much we need to know that's just not clear right now.
When was the last time you saw him before this incident happened, and did everything seem like normal? Were there any red flags at the time?
I hadn't seen him for a week.
5 days, yeah.
17th, I think, was the last day.
Is that unusual for you to not see him in that length of time?
It was kind of unusual, yeah. I hadn't heard from him or seen him, and I was getting worried about him, and then I heard about this. So
Had you tried to contact him? Was he responsive?
the day I found out, I tried to contact him.
And then we waited and waited and waited, and no phone call, no anything, and they said they wouldn't let him. And I thought everyone gets a phone call, at least one, to at least let your family or somebody know that you're incarcerated.
Yeah, we thought maybe he was dead.
You had mentioned the family of Officer Rocha in court. What was it like to see them, and what's
I'm
your
not even
reaction?
sure who the family was, to be honest with you.
I just know it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And that they've lost.
And
you know,
we
the children have
we
lost
prayed on the phone last night for the family. Me and Richard did. We pray for the family, for the fallen officer. He's very upset.
How do you feel about it?
I feel for the family. It's a terrible, terrible thing. And I want them to know that Richard is not an evil person. He's very God-fearing, and he was almost ready to plead guilty, thinking he might, you know, because they were telling him he did it. They had proof or whatever. But I said, have they shown you any proof? And he's like, no, but I don't remember any of this except the car accident. So,
Just to reiterate, you believe he's not guilty, or you're not sure at this point based on not having enough information?
based on not having enough information, in my heart, I can't ever see him doing anything like this.
I told him I wasn't going to believe it till I seen it myself. There's no way.
So you haven't been able to even get a hold of all the people on stage?
Nothing.
So the defense isn't providing you with all that?
Nothing.
This is the first time
He
we're
is-
supposed to be going to meet
His
her.
lawyer is not properly doing her job, as far as I'm concerned.
We've
His lawyer.
spoken to several
Yeah.
lawyers, and they said this is not how you handle a murder case. If she was defending him, she would be getting the mental health evaluation and fighting, not wanting him to plead guilty immediately. Just something he doesn't remember.
So it was another attorney who talked to you guys, and you guys talked to him to.
Several, and if we
To lead
had,
him to change his
if we
plea.
had the money, we have one that said they would absolutely take the case because they don't feel Richard did it either, and he's known him since he was a kid. So,
But just to clarify, you talked to him, and that kind of helped him change his mind and change his plea.
yes.
Anything else either of you ladies would like to add that's important for people to know?
I think we said enough.
Yeah, I just want to know, my heart goes out to that family, and this
Yes.
should have never happened. However it happened, it just, there's no excuse for any of it. And I hope if it comes down to something did happen, Richard can, get the help he needs and find out the truth behind what really happened. Anyway, yeah. That's